You just won 2.4 million pounds on the lottery. You're 65 years old. Retirement age. The jackpot solves everything. Mortgage paid off, grandkids' education funded, Mediterranean villa purchased, luxury you never dreamed possible. Most people would spend the rest of their days on a golf course or beach. John Eric Spivey had different plans. He looked at his 2.4 million pounds, looked at the converted stables behind his quiet rural cottage near Wigan, and thought, I'm going to build an empire. Not just a small-time operation, an industrial-scale pharmaceutical counterfeiting business producing tens of thousands of fake tablets every hour, flooding Britain with pills laced with a sedative 8 times stronger than the real thing. He frosted the windows so neighbors couldn't see inside. He bought industrial machinery worth hundreds of thousands. He recruited his son to run the operation. And when discussing his business in encrypted chats, he didn't compare himself to other drug dealers. He boasted, Elon and Jeff best watch their backs. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. The lottery winner who should have been enjoying retirement was positioning himself alongside billionaire tech titans, funding a 288 million pound counterfeit empire, while police intercepted his encrypted messages and built a case that would end with armed officers raiding his cottage, discovering millions of pills, industrial manufacturing equipment, and enough evidence to put an 80-year-old man in prison for over 16 years. This is the story of how winning the lottery became the worst decision of John Eric Spivey's life, not because of the money, but because of what he chose to do with it. Stay with us as we dive deeper. The lottery win that changed everything. John Eric Spivey won 2.4 million pounds on the UK National Lottery in 2010. He was 65, retirement age. The jackpot represented generational wealth, enough to live comfortably forever, support his family, pursue any legitimate business venture. But Spivey had a history. He wasn't a law-abiding citizen waiting for his lucky break. He had a significant criminal record, a lifetime of involvement in organized crime. The lottery win should have been his exit, his chance to go legitimate and enjoy his remaining years without looking over his shoulder. Instead, he doubled down. The lottery win became seed money for something far more ambitious. While most lottery winners worry about safe investments, Spivey was planning an industrial-scale pharmaceutical counterfeiting operation that would eventually be valued at up to 288 million pounds, over 100 times what he'd won. The decision seems irrational. Why risk prison when you've already won financial freedom? But Spivey saw an opportunity. The lottery money gave him capital for equipment and infrastructure that street-level dealers could never afford. He wasn't thinking small-time anymore. He was thinking industrial. The cottage factory, Spivey's rural cottage near Wigan, seemed like the perfect retirement property. Quiet country lane, converted stables, picturesque setting. Neighbors assumed the lottery winner was living out his golden years. Behind the cottage, in those converted stables, Spivey was building something else. Between November 2021 and May 2022, he transformed the building into a pharmaceutical manufacturing facility. He invested over £200,000 in machinery, installing industrial-grade equipment capable of producing tens of thousands of tablets per hour. The operation was sophisticated. Windows were frosted so nobody could see inside. 3-phase electricity powered the machinery. The setup resembled a legitimate pharmaceutical factory, just without licensing, regulation, or legal authorization. Industrial tablet presses, mixers, and packaging machines churned out counterfeit tablets marketed as Valium. But these weren't real Valium. They contained a sedative banned in the UK that's roughly 6 to 8 times stronger than actual. In high doses, can cause severe central nervous system depression, unconsciousness, respiratory failure, and death. The counterfeit tablets were unregulated and unchecked for purity. Nobody knew exactly how much was in each pill. The pills sold for 65 pence each. At industrial production volumes, the profits were staggering. Police estimates suggested tablets with a bulk value between £7.2 million and £12.9 million, with potential street value ranging from £57.6 million to £288 million. The family business. This wasn't a solo operation. Spivey recruited his son, John Colin Spivey, 37, to help run the business. A drug empire passed from father to son, funded by lottery winnings that should have secured the family's legitimate future. 2 other associates joined, Lee Drury, 45, and Callum Dorian, 35. Drury created a front company called Nutra Inc., complete with a professional website advertising tablet presses and packaging machines. The fake business provided cover for purchasing industrial equipment without suspicion. In 2021, Spivey expanded by setting up a second manufacturing site at the Albion unit in Salford, worth £210,000. Drury rented a shipping container to store materials and millions of counterfeit tablets awaiting distribution. The operation also involved firearms, AK-47s, automatic weapons, and ammunition. In encrypted EncroChat messages, Spivey's arrogance was on display. He boasted, "Elon and Jeff best watch their backs." He saw himself not as a criminal, but as an entrepreneur, building an empire that would rival the tech billionaires he admired. The takedown. European law enforcement had cracked EncroChat, the encrypted messaging service used by criminals. French police intercepted messages between gang members, providing British authorities with detailed intelligence. Greater Manchester Police began surveillance as part of Operation Venetic. On April 2, 2022, police intercepted a significant shipment. Drury had rented a van to transport drugs to a Manchester hotel. When officers stopped it, they found 2.5 million tablets inside. Wholesale value £7 million, street value £67 million. The following month, on May 17th, police raided Spivey's properties. They seized 3 firearms, ammunition, cash, industrial machinery, counterfeit drugs, and raw materials. They also discovered forged documents stating Spivey was the leaseholder. He'd pressured a solicitor to lie about witnessing signatures. At trial in November 2025, Spivey Sr. and his son denied charges. Both were convicted. In January 2026, sentencing came. John Eric Spivey, now 80, received 16 years and 6 months. His son received 9 years. Drury got 9 years and 9 months. Dorian got 12 years. Judge Nicholas Clark addressed Spivey. "Despite your lottery win, you continued to live your life of crime beyond what would be a normal retirement age." Detective Inspector Alex Brown stated, "These 4 individuals showed absolutely no regard for human life or public safety. They operated a fully industrialized drug manufacturing business capable of producing millions of counterfeit tablets containing a highly dangerous substance." John Eric Spivey won £2.4 million on the lottery at 65, the perfect opportunity to retire comfortably and leave his criminal past behind. Instead, he used the money to fund an industrial-scale drug empire, converting the stables behind his cottage into a pharmaceutical counterfeiting factory, producing tens of thousands of fake Valium tablets laced with a sedative 8 times stronger than the real thing. He recruited his son, built a second facility, and boasted in encrypted messages that Elon and Jeff best watch their backs. The operation produced up to £288 million in counterfeit pills before police, using intercepted EncroChat messages, raided his properties, and seized millions of tablets, industrial equipment, and firearms. At 80 years old, he was sentenced to over 16 years in prison. The lottery win that should have secured his retirement instead funded the crime that will ensure he spends his final years behind bars. The irony is absolute. Winning the lottery destroyed his life not because of the money itself, but because of the catastrophic choices he made with it. What do you think? Why would someone with 2.4 million pounds risk everything for more? Should lottery winners with criminal records be monitored more closely? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and remember to like, subscribe, and click on the next video on your screen.